Ma'am, I want to know one thing particularly that what is the best way to clean stains and spots?
The best way to do that is to study for a long time. Because I'm not going to be able to tell you the best way to do it here. Because the
Because ma'am,
stains on
with
object
me
1 is
stay
going to be different than
yeah.
object 2 and object 3 and object 4 and object 5.
Because
So
ma'am,
I'm not going to give
with
you a
me
recipe.
at home, like also stains happen a lot on textiles and sometimes paintings or objects.
So at home, let me give you, I can talk about at home. So at home you have food stains, but you also have maybe candle wax stains, stains from pigments from bowling, when your fingers get covered and so the stains are very different. Stains. Yeah.
So, ma'am, like we are learning preventive conservation. So, like if any kind of oil stain or any
So you have to
ink.
first of all determine what the object is. Is it textile? Is it paper? Is it metal? Is it something else? And there'll be a different set of conditions that are safe to work with these different objects. So if you've got a textile, you're going to have a different set of cleaning solutions than if you have paper. But if it's grease, it's going to need a different solution than if it's pigment or if it's wax, for instance. So I'm not going to give you a recipe because I don't have one to give you.
Yes,
Because
ma'am,
it's
but
all
like us also we work in museums because I also like conservation science, like helpful for safeguarding your things at home also and storing them the right way.
yeah, storing them in the right way, but also knowing how to treat them in the right way. And there you have to go and learn science. You have to learn about the materials that you are conserving and the materials that can get deposited on land. And then you find the right solution for cleaning. And sometimes that's an aqueous solution, so with water as a base, and sometimes it's a solvent solution. And sometimes you want to make that solution not travel so far on the object, so you put a gel in it. So there's lots of different ways of doing this, and you do need to do a module to clean, to understand it. So there is a module, it's an online course called Conservation Science, and you can sign up and do this. It's done in
Ma'am,
the
what's the name
UK.
of the online course?
It's called Conservation Science, and it's I can give them the details. It's run by the International Academic Projects Group in the UK. It's a year course. It's
3 year course, ma'am.
it's a training course. It's a corresponding course, so you don't have to be there. And it will give you a basic understanding of chemistry, of material chemistry, and cleaning solutions for material chemistry. So it's something that you train to be as a conservatorist. Of course, if you're working in a studio and you have a mentor, the mentor will help you decide what the right solution is, but it's always best to get a better understanding of what it is.
And ma'am, is vacuum cleaner the best thing to clean the dust?
It depends. I'm never going to give you a simple answer to this.
Because I have selected my topic as in the dissertation as metal conservation. So my sir Nitin sir told me that for removing the dust from the metal objects, dry brushing is a good way.
Well, if you have an iron object that has a lot of rust and the rust is flaking away, would you want to use a brush?
Ma'am, dust, ma'am.
Yes, but look at the substrate.
It depends on
It
the
depends
object,
on the
condition of the
object
object.
and the condition of
So,
the
sir,
object.
all the objects can be dust can be removed with dry brushing.
No, because the dry brushing may disrupt the original surface and you may remove material that is not supposed to be removed. So every case has to be evaluated on its own, and you have to look at the risk and the hazard of removing it and the risk that you're going to use to do that. So dry brushing is never, and what kind of brush?
So, ma'am, how can we remove dust and dirt deposits from all types of
You have
objects?
to look at each case, and each case is going to have a different answer. So you need to have in your toolbox, in your grab bag, many different scenarios, and then think about whether I use scenario A, or B, or C, or D, or E, or F, and so on. So each object is going to have another answer. They may be similar, but they're going to be individual answers. So that's why I can't say that removing with a vacuum cleaner and a brush is going to be good for everything. It's not. It may be very damaging for the original object. So what is more important, removing the dust or keeping the original object?
Ma'am, protecting the object from all the harmful factors.
Yeah, so we have an object that is covered in dust, but if you only have a brush and a vacuum cleaner, and the brush and the vacuum cleaner is going to damage the object, what is the best scenario? Not clean. That's the best scenario.
I'm not to clean the
But
object.
not
If
everything.
like,
So if you have to assess the problem that is presented in front of you. Does that make sense?
ma'am, is a muslin cloth or a gentle cloth good to wipe off dust?
It depends.
It depends.
It depends.
On the surface and on the object and the
Yeah,
condition
of course,
and
of,
each time.
So
of
it's
course,
not going to
surface.
be always yes. It may be sometimes yes, and it may be sometimes no.
Sometimes you use brush on the muslin cloth.
Sometimes you cannot use anything.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sometimes
you don't
you
have
cannot
the
touch the object at all.
And
So
the-
it's a scale.
Ma'am, the place where I'm living, Noida, the Ghaziabad district, ma'am, lot of dust is there inside the air, and it's like I have a back lawn and open space where we dry our clothes in the natural sun. So, and as like we keep the door of that part open near to my bedroom, so lots of dust and dirt deposits get accumulated on my study table and furniture.
So this is a very big problem. This comes back to the preventive side, it's not the intervention side. The intervention is using the brush or the cloth, but prevention is putting delicate objects in an environment that is not damaging to them. So if you have an environment like this and you have a very delicate object, then
Yes.
you have to assess whether leaving it out on display is damaging to it. And in that scenario, it might be. So you might have to pack it away and put it in a box. Then you can't enjoy it, but you're keeping it in a pristine condition. You can also develop a display case which will reduce the amount of dust and dirt that gets onto it. So it really depends on the function and what it is. Sometimes you can make a replica of the original and you put the replica on display, and the replica becomes dusty and dirty, it doesn't matter. It's a replica.
Yes.
The original is then in a box, safely stored, without any dust and dirt falling on it. And if the dust and dirt does fall on it, then you call a conservator, and you say to the conservator, is it safe? What do I need to do? And you may become that conservator, but you should always, before you start dusting and dirt things, ask if it's safe to do so. So I saw some wonderful sculptures coming up here, and this would be a really nice group project for you guys to go through the corridors here and look at the sculptures and think about whether they need dusting or dust, is the surface dirt on them, and who takes it off, who's in charge of cleaning them, and have they got the right training, are they using the right kind of tools. So this complex has got a lot of case studies for you to work with in terms of that. They're good questions, but this is why you're coming to do a course on preventive conservation.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, it's fun to learn to safeguard our like not only just the heritage of our country, but to safeguard and protect the things at home.
Yeah, but you've got to realise that sometimes your skills, even if you become and you get your diploma in preventive conservation, are not going to be the right skills for treating the object. You might need to get somebody else who has more expertise, and that's somebody who's trained as a conservator. And there's the National Museum Institute that trains conservators. There is also the Delhi Institute of
Yes,
Heritage
ma'am.
Science, but they don't train conservators. They do a bit, but they don't train conservators.
Ma'am, I want to learn more conservation from abroad because little bit I don't feel very much satisfied from whatever conservation is being taught in India. Here the approach is more theory based. And
If
I,
you
Well, you've got to, I mean, this is what we do at home too. We learn the theory and then we put it into practice. And sometimes it goes hand in hand a little bit. So we always start in our training, we
I
start
feel
with practice.
I want to learn the conservation techniques more from West
it's
or
better if
Australia.
you want
No,
to
no, wait a
continue,
minute.
you should join the NSM William Institute, the
Yeah.
2 year full program on
Yeah.
MA, and they teach a lot of things. And then you can go abroad also after having a basic knowledge and all.
But I mean, just because it's abroad doesn't mean to say it's good. And just because it's in India doesn't mean to say it's bad. And, you know, if you're looking abroad, I don't deal with Indian polychrome sculpture. I don't deal with Indian paper
So, ma'am,
objects.
sir, if you like want to learn conservation more from abroad, then you have to have masters in it first.
No, you can join Newcastle, it's a master's course. You can join the University of Amsterdam. There are 2 Indian students at the moment in Amsterdam, and it's a master's program. Some places you can go to Cologne, but you have to speak German, and you start with a bachelor's. So there's many options, bachelor's and master's level. But just because it's abroad doesn't mean to say it's good, and just because it's taught there doesn't mean to say it can be applied here. So your object typology is very different than Western art. And Western conservation programs are training conservators for Western conservation projects. And that's something really important to note. So it's not, I'm coming from abroad to here with a bag of knowledge, but sometimes what I know is
Actually, when I was in my BFA, I had learned about, I was studying about painting methods and materials. So, although we can feel that methods and materials is little different from conservation because it teaches artists how to keep and protect his things and store all of his equipments and work of art carefully. So during that time I learned about one deceptive retouching technique used in the Museum of London, perhaps British Museum or Victoria Albert Museum, where they just restore a crack or a spot in the painting in such a way that it's not like that it
Well, we've
isn't
got a nice
visible.
case study downstairs to have a look at to see what I would
It's a
do.
different aspect
But it's a
of,
different aspect. It's very different.
here you should only concentrate for the preventive thing, handling and all.
Yeah.
You can more question you can ask anybody else has question.
I think
Yeah.
we can wrap
You want to ask? Yeah. No.
You?
I just have one bit. So, during our history workshop, we had a small discussion on ethics in retouching. So, the question we will pose is like whether we should save the original object or save the meaning of the object.
We'll go downstairs and have a look and we'll
Yeah.
dissect your paintings downstairs. I think this is much better than. I like the discussion, it's getting really good. But I think we'll go downstairs and have a